Welcome to day 26 of the Legend of Mathmatica Kickstarter. We're currently at $3,321, 46 backers, and 4 days left. Oh, we gained another backer today, which I appreciate. I appreciate you, the person who just backed on that part. Anyway, I appreciate the person who backed that. I appreciate all of you, actually. It's very heartening, actually, in its own way. So, with that out of the way, what's the topic that I'm going to be talking about today? Well, particularly, I wanted to talk a little bit about using Twitter, and not really just Twitter, but social media in general. And it just so happens that Twitter has some of the better examples, I think. So, the general gist is, in social media spaces, one of the first things is that it's not, when I said cast your net deep as opposed to casting your net wide, what that means is establishing yourself as a member of the community. And this happens in any particular area. If you are operating on, say, DK Vine, for instance, which is a retro game appreciation community that started out around Donkey Kong stuff and expanded out into examining rareware things in general and games that kind of ape that same space. Ape. To utilize that connection, you need to actually be an active member in the space, be someone that people actually know and appreciate. And I know it seems like common sense, but when you start doing these sorts of deals where you have a thing that you're trying to promote and you're trying to get information out on it, you may try to skip that step of digging in deep and actually having the connections to leverage. But in reality, it's definitely a thing of where you need to already have those connections when you're starting. And so you need to, if you are going to leverage, say, a connection in the indie dev space of Reddit, then you need to already have it by the time you're doing the Kickstarter. And so you need to be working on this at least 6 months in advance. Now, let's say you were trying to find something like that on the Twitters, for instance. Well, again, for this one, it's usually a simpler thing of just go hashtag indie dev, right? You just use one of the common hashtags, and then you'll find all sorts of people. It was like, I make games. I do X. I do Y. And after that, after you've looked at that, the next thing is, and this is key, is you want to try and be honest about what you like, because building up a presence on these things, while it is in part that you are doing a little bit of system gaming in trying to get a hold of enough people in your follower count so that when you announce that you're doing something awesome, that they actually see it. But also, it's a thing of where you want this to be simple. You want this to be something that you would naturally do, where maybe not necessarily on the daily, because that would be unhealthy, but once a week, you feel naturally compelled to go in and see what's up, and see what's going on. Like for me in particular, like I've been following this guy, Fabio Fondes, who's been making this awesome car fighting game. I'm just like, that thing is amazing. And so of course I would comment and share on this, or would feel compelled to comment and share on this because I actually like it. Um, and I know this seems like common sense, but it's a thing. Wherever you decide to be at, you want to feel like you like being there, for whatever reason. Now, uh, having using filters such as the hashtags filters on Twitter. I almost called it Twitch on Twitter. This is one of the best ways to kind of do that sort of thing. You can do a similar thing on platforms such as Minds, but instead you just finding different people that you want to see updates from. Now, particularly of note is this guy, Amazing Gaming Productions. I really like this. I really like what this guy's been doing. He's basically been just aggregating a bunch of different artists from a whole host of fields, either writers or artists, or game developers, and all of that sort of thing. So I always try and pay attention to a lot of his updates, because the nice thing is that he doesn't just do spots. He also does queries and asks people questions about the things that they're making. It's like, say, in one sentence, what's the core concept behind the story that you are writing right now, and that sort of thing. So I think it's very interesting. And that's another bet with these sorts of spaces, because you will have people in the different social media spaces that will put forth prompts. And these prompts are an awesome opportunity for you, because this means that you are able to do a whole bunch of different things. Also, being connected to once you're connected to any particular people's, they will float opportunities to you, and you can float opportunities to them. Like, say, just this morning I was contacted by Frankie Love, who's been making some cool music, and it's like she's doing an Indiegogo right now. And so that was so she poked me and was like, "Oh, hey, that's awesome! I'm gonna go check it out," which I am going to do. And now anyone who's just watched this also knows that she's doing an Indiegogo for calming songs that remove anxiety and stress. So I suppose this would be where I would segue into that statement of, this is the benefit, this is the more natural, like, good benefit of advertising and being an advertiser, is that you have the connections, you have the ability to let people know that there's awesome things happening. And that's really the job, is saying, did you know that this awesome thing is happening right over there, and it's really cool, and you would like it? Like, that's what advertising is supposed to be. I know it's a very manipulative field, to be sure, where you get into trying to make it so that when you show somebody a thing, it's not that they want to go after it or see it, but that they feel compelled to go after it. And these are two very different things. Where it's like, if they want to, it's just kind of a deal of like, oh, I do like that. That is something that I enjoy, or that's something that I could use. Like old school advertisements, it was just, here's the thing is the thing does this thing. You want the thing because it's useful to you. Like way back in the day, it would be like, this is coffee. This coffee wakes you up in the morning. Feels good, right? You should get this coffee to wake you up. And, later on, it turned into the, Folgers, the commercial. It's like, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. So, with my terrible singing, that changed it from a statement of, this is why it's useful, to this is what it feels like. Advertising what it feels to have a thing. And there's a whole rabbit hole to go down with regards to the shift from utility advertising to emotional advertising, and all of that stuff. And to be sure, emotional advertising is definitely a lot more effective, where it's just like, this is what it feels like to do this thing. You want to feel good, you should get this thing, or you want to feel like this, you should get this thing. And it goes even beyond that to making somebody laugh, because that making somebody laugh while they're looking at their thing, because that makes them associate happiness with the dealie subconsciously. Like I said, it's a very manipulative space. But the ultimate goal with all of this is to let people know about things that you think they would enjoy and you think that they would like. And hopefully you're correct on that assumption. Anyway, I went off topic there a little bit, but it still follows. The basic thing I wanted to say today was that if you're working with the social media, it's just any form of social media, it's a long form process. You don't just appear in the social media space and everyone's looking at you. That's just not how it works. You need to be in there, and you need to be, if not necessarily an active member of the community, certainly somebody who is actively doing stuff of some sort, either paying attention to different things that are going on, following this and that person, doing this and that thing, and making your connections. It's like doing footwork in your local community if you were trying to advertise for say like a local show, where you go to the coffee shops and you talk to the managers and ask them to post your poster on the wall somewhere, or basically go business to business and say, hey, I'm doing this thing, it's cool, you should go check it out, and that sort of deal. It's just, a little less nerve-wracking because you're not talking to real live people. I mean, they are real people behind those names, which is part of the psychological. This is part of the aspect that makes social media kind of terrifying in its own way, and the fact that you have that wall that makes it so that when you're looking at it, you don't realize that there's another person behind the screen. And then there are people who are very, very aware of that and utilize the anonymity to do terrible things, but that's another thing entirely. The point is, cast your net deep. That's what it means. Is plant your seed and grow it. You need at least 6 months, in my opinion. And because of the add 50% rule, which I use for all things, that actually turns into 9 months. You need the same amount of time it takes to grow a baby. At least if we're accounting for mistakes and such. So, there's that. That's all I got for you today. Nothing new to really announce. Just, you got 46 backers, $3,321. And 4 days to go. Like I said, like I've been saying, there will be an announcement at the end of this thing. And for all of you who are backing, you have, first off, you have my love. I love you. I know, you probably feel all ooky and weird because I said that, but that's fine. And thank you. Thank you very much. Looking forward to when we get to the last point and I can actually say the thing. But I'm going to wait until we get there. So, until next time, play the games you want to play, boyos. This is Redcurve, signing off.